Peace. Peter Panagore here, but I'm not here. How zen. I'm away this week writing a chapter for the movie. And this video is a curated repeat. Peace. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for being here today. Today, today, say peace from Luke 10. Okay, so peace. I'm called Peter. Welcome to Not Church, Mysticism, no doctrine, no dogma, no Bravo Sierra. Deconstruction, reinterpretation. I speak mysticism with a Christian accent. I'm not religious. I'm a mystic. Not Church is for mystical experiencers, seekers, children of light, and those who long in their hearts for the unspeakable divine. Today, we look at when Jesus said, the teacher said, say peace upon this house. Now, peace isn't just an idea. Peace that surpasses understanding is experiential. And that's part of the point of Not Church, is to create a space for you and for me to share and to experience this peace with a capital P, to learn how to fill our bellies full of peace, and then to be able to live in this inner peace and spend this peace in our daily lives. So let's take a moment now to create some and to share some among us. So please join me by closing your eyes, breathing into a quiet place, and settling yourself, falling into your centering place, following your breath, slowly breathing peace into your belly, holding it there, exhaling into your single eye, slowly holding there and into your belly again. And let's begin together. Let's chant 3 ohms together. Say peace upon this house. Carve a channel of peace. Every day, a little more peace, a little more breath, a little more peace. Center your heart and intention on heaven. Aim at peace with a capital P. And every day you'll have peace for you, inside you, for yourself, to draw on like a water faucet, like a kitchen faucet flowing whenever you need a drink of peace or a glass of peace, of the water of life to share. And at first, your faucet may only give drops or a trickle. but turning the faucet on just a little bit more every day, and the spigot will flow and it will become endless. And you'll fill up and overflow. And the more that pours into you decade by decade, the deeper and wider the water of life widens in the pipe inside you. The bigger the reservoir inside you, allowing more of the water of life to flow in and through you, transforming your physical life and the lives of those around you, bringing heaven here. And we co-create this channel of peace inside ourselves through silence, through ohms, through our practices, through dissolving the layers of our false self, of our egoic mind. Our beloved, with a capital B, is so gracious as to need our consent to flow most fully. We have to agree to this. We have to seek this. We need to give God consent. And there are two ways, at least two ways, to open your channel of peace. And the first is by going inward, which is what we do here. And the second is by going outward. These two paths work in tandem. Consistency and combination of the inward and the outward paths, it's helpful. I know this because I've practiced it for decades. Saying peace in my heart and by blessing with peace from my lips to everyone I meet, or maybe in a farewell. I say, peace be with you, or peace to you. I give it away. The great storehouse of peace contains an endless supply. Now, whether or not the historical Jesus said or did anything that's recorded in the Gospels matters far less than the lessons contained in the teaching found there. Now, remember that myths tell truths even if the story isn't true. And the ancients knew that the words cannot contain the fullness of the ineffable truth, but they understood that mythical stories can contain meaning of understanding. Koans, parables, myths, and metaphors can open minds and hearts to wisdom. Listen, Jesus said, once you enter a house, speak peace to the people there, saying, may peace be upon this house. And if a lover of peace resides there, your peace will rest upon that household. But if you are rejected, if no consent is given, your blessing of peace comes back to you. Whenever Jesus spoke in this way, it was because of his own mystical experiences. He wasn't theoretical. It wasn't book or knowledge-based. It's his first-person experience that he speaks through again and again. So listen to these verses again as I put them in the first person of Jesus. And imagine him while he's doing this. He's trying to help us understand the living power of peace. And he says to you, to me, once I enter a house, I say, may peace be upon this house. If a lover of peace resides there, if there's someone whose light is the light of the world, then my peace rests upon that person and through her whole household like a radiance multiplied. It rests in her because it's not mine, but belongs to all of us and is in her already. But when I'm rejected, when I was rejected, my peace, blessing, bounces back to me. So nothing is lost with God. There's only gain. Unlike other things in this world of entropy, which diminish moment by moment, unspeakable peace always increases. I say that not theoretically. I say that from experience. You lose nothing by giving away the blessing of peace. You gain everything. The more peace you give away, the greater becomes your capacity to gain and to give away peace. If the peace you're freely offering is rejected, then it comes back to you, even while it remains like a lingering wave form surrounding the one who rejects it. The peace you give away comes back to you, and it stays with the one you give it to, even when it's rejected. It stays there as a potentiality, just waiting for the opening moment of awakening and welcoming, and participates in that awakening and that welcoming. Peace given away is a prayer every time the word flows off your tongue, when it's propelled by breath, connected to your heart. Every time you type with your fingers, the word peace connected to your heart. We are each and all of us houses where souls live. I am a house, and my body is my house, and I live inside my house. When you say peace be upon this house, you bless the body and soul of the person. Bless the houses you meet on the street in your life. And I came to understand this in practice, not just because I read it from the lips, maybe, of Jesus, but because of the visions I was given, both before and after my near-death experience, my first one. And I came to understand the peace that I thought belonged to me, I now understand belongs to all of us. And today I have for you two mystical stories from my life, so that maybe you will understand why I've come to say peace all the time, and why I took Jesus' words to heart. One day on the Appalachian Trail in March of '79, I was hiking on spring break for a week, 8 inches of snow, staying in half cabins with my buddy Bob. One night, as I fell asleep, my angel came to me, rushed down to me, and plucked me from my body and pulled me up what I can only describe as the silver cord, like a tunnel of light or an elevator. And the angel was the elevator box, but also the tunnel, and pulled me from my body and pulled me right up out of myself through the roof of the half cabin. I could look down and see myself. I saw the roof. I saw the trees. I was pulled up to the edge of the atmosphere of Earth and transitioned into a heaven, an infinite darkness. And I was contained in my astral body, in my sort of between full consciousness and human body, where I had a little bit of form, a little bit of matching of the form of my body, but was not body at all. I was no thing. And I could see out of my eyes, and I could see the scene from outside of myself. And I was in a bubble. And this bubble was transparent. And a pair of hands appeared. And one of them contained, holding this vial of glass with a little black cap on it, filled with sparkling gold dust. And the divine commanded me to raise my hands without language. This is all without language. My hands go up in a cup in front of me, and the cap unscrews from the vial of glass, and the gold dust pours into my palms in a stack. And the voice without sound says to me, I give you this gift. A wind blows, A breath blows, and it says, now give it away. And there's nothing in my hands. And I'm dropped back into my body again. That was before my near-death experience. And then one day, after my near-death experience, I'd been on television all night on public TV at part of the annual auction here in Maine. I was an auctioneer once a year, and my shift was 6 hours, and it was late at night. It ended at 11, and I drank 8, 9, 10 cups of coffee, don't even know, in order to stay jazzed and talk about the pieces that I have. So this is this, and that is that, and just, you can get this too. And by 11 o'clock, I had another cup of coffee to make the hour-and-a-half drive home, and so I couldn't sleep all night long. The next morning, because I couldn't sleep, I lay down on the sofa, and I'd had another cup of coffee to help the kids with homework, and I was totally jazzed. I was exhausted. My physical body was exhausted. So I lay down on the sofa and I began to meditate in my silence and my centering prayer. And in an instant, in the very instant I began my practice, I was plucked out of myself. And I was brought into a cosmic music, the sounds of all the most beautiful frequencies of all the universe. And it was an ocean of beautiful sound that made all things be, including me. And I was an orb of beautiful music rising through this ocean of beautiful sound, of cosmic music, the choir and voices of angels, call it whatever you want. And I rose rapidly to the very edge of it, to the closest I'd come to the light since I first died. And then I said, I became aware of the light. And light, the word light popped into my being, and I was back in my body. And this process repeated for hours, in and out of my body, in and out. But I want to talk about what happened after. That sacral chakra, that second chakra inside of me that had been existing as a ball inside of me from the years of meditation suddenly became a tube. And it popped out my back and it popped out my belly and it became a flow. It became a flow of peace riding through me, a torrent of peace through a pipe inside of me, radiating out into me, bringing peace to me. But it was bigger than me, so much bigger than me. And it lasted 6 months wide open, right through surgery from an accident I had while playing softball. It lasted despite the pain I had. It stayed where I was inside of me for months. And then it slowly closed. And years went by before I learned to look at it with my heart and intention and my mind. And whenever I do, it reopens for me. This is where I have the understanding why mystical experiences leave you gifts that leave you open, and you can use them to enhance your spiritual life, to bring the flow to others. This peace, St. Francis talked about, make me a channel of your peace. Make me a channel of your peace. I've always wanted to be a channel of peace. This has been my desire since my return from death the first time. Make me a channel of your peace. Let this peace live and flow inside me and bring me some stability in this world, some peace in this world. Underneath all of my emotions, underneath all of my experiences, underneath all of my troubles and traumas in life, like you, this peace is a balance. And the more I give it away, the more I have to share, the fuller I become. When we say, peace be upon this house, when we give away the peace that lives inside us, it not only lingers around those who reject it, it fills those who receive it. It magnifies between us, and it comes back to us 100-fold. All of the love I gave away in life came back to me in death. All of the peace we give away in life comes back to us. This peace is the peace that surpasses understanding. It's experiential. It's connective. It's like a water we share. It's like we all show up at the same well outside on a hillside somewhere that pipes right out of the earth. And we all have our cups, and we fill our cups and we share it among ourselves. This water of life, this flow, this peace brings peace inside us. The more we seek it, the more we give it away, the bigger our capacity, the more the flow comes through us, the more we share it with others, the more they have to share, the more they have among themselves, the more they can give away, the deeper their process, the deeper their peace. This is why we practice silence. This is why we make ourselves channels of the divine light, because it carves away ourselves and makes us into channels of peace and light and heaven in the world, among us, between us, inside us. Let's take a moment, please. Please pray with me. May your peace flow through us like rivers pouring out from the ocean of your love. May your peace infill us so that even if our physical days and nights are full of turmoil, suffering, or strife, that we may find our higher selves resting inside of you while we live. Make us channels of your peace. Help us bring peace into life. Amen. Hey, thanks for joining me here this morning. If you've been inspired, drop by peterpanagore.love to support mysticism and teaching in the public square through Not Church. Just look for the red spinning heart. Thank you. Like and subscribe. Not Church is experimental. It needs you to succeed, and I'd love to have your input. Tell me if this is working for you. Tell me if I'm helping you. Please tell me what you want me to talk about. You have a recommendation, you have a request, just let me know. My goal is to be a channel of peace in the world. That's my life's aspiration and my life desire, to be the best I can be in my daily life. And perfection is not what I want, because life is complex and difficult. I want the peace that surpasses all understanding to guide me, to be inside me, to bring good to my life, to bring good to lives of those around me, and to guide me home while I'm here and when I die. Hopefully the third time's a charm. So far, so good. And I want to thank you for your prayers for my 91-year-old dad in rehab and my 90-year-old mom. May God's will be done in their lives. Now, peace is a foretaste of eternity. Hey, thank you for the super chat, Kristen and Capital and Summer. Thank you so much for your help. Peace is a foretaste of eternity. And twice in the past 2 days, I officiated its spreading of cremains, ashes, of two people I've loved in my life, out at sea, right out there, and the bay behind me, right down there in the cove last night. And the first was a 91-year-old dear heart. And she knew, because she sang in the choir at the church, that I preached barefoot behind the pulpit every Sunday so that I might be grounded. And she was one of the few, and she kept my secret because, it was undignified. The second was a young woman in my summer neighborhood who grew up with my kids. And she died of a fentanyl overdose. Maybe it was suicide. Maybe it was an accident. And maybe it was even homicide. We don't know. The police can't tell. They don't know. But what we know is that both of them, what I know now, is that both of them rest in peace. R.I.P., we say. But the truth with a capital T is that the resting in peace is the end of all suffering and the fullness of welcome and of healing and wholeness and an end of strife. And we can foretaste that here if we open our minds and our hearts to peace with a capital P. Make me a channel of your peace. Make me a channel of your peace. Thanks for joining me here this morning at the top of the hour. You can join us live for the mystical discussion on Zoom that we have every Sunday. You can find the link down below. I want to thank everybody for being here today. I'm going to take a look at the chat and see what's going on over there. I see the first thing I see is Kristen, peace within me despite the strife. And that is the superpower of peace. No matter what is going on the surface of the ocean of your life, way down underneath, this peace can flow like a balance, like a stream. You know, I have a bit of a melancholy personality sometimes. Way underneath my melancholia, way underneath my joy, way underneath myself, this peace lives like the base of the ocean floor on which I stand. And my body may be buffeted, but my feet do not move. It's a powerful thing, this peace. Thank you, Ariane. Amen. Thank you, Peter. Sharon, Reverend, I would like to talk to you about mediums who say they communicate with the dead. Of course, the Bible doesn't approve. It does not. But I'll ask you, Sharon, do you know anybody who's ever been visited by a beloved deceased person? That's communication with the dead. Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Alfred. I know the Bible doesn't approve, but the Bible doesn't approve of a lot of stuff that happens that we know in near-death experience. Like, for instance, you're not supposed to trust the angel, the light that you see in the near-death experience. But we all do, because it self-reveals itself as the divine light. It's self-revealing. Now, there are mediums that are fraudulent, but there are mediums that aren't. But I would ask you, what do you hope to gain by communicating with the dead? Now, if it's love and understanding, peace and connection to heaven, if it's warning in life, it's remembrance, beautiful. Yeah, I know the Bible says no, but the fact is, it happens. Mediums communicate with the dead. I have seen ghosts myself. I'm not a regular practitioner of that. I rather aim my heart at the divine. I rather aim my heart beyond this world. I rather aim my heart at peace and heaven than anything here, which is temporal and not lasting. This peace is lasting. We can talk more about that, Sharon. If you want to come to mysticchai Salon, that'd be a good place to discuss that. So please think about that. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Stardust. A powerful prayer this morning. We'll write what happened. And the YouTube comments later, please do. Please do. I was trying to open that second chakra inside myself today. I appreciate your perspective, says Rebecca. Thank you for holding the space for peace today. You're welcome. Always missed the time, but much appreciated. Leah Peachy. Yeah, you can always catch it, from the beginning. It's great that it rewinds. I appreciate your program and look forward to it each Sunday. Thank you, Marcia. I want to continue this because if it works for people. But I have to keep asking because I need to know. I need, I need feedback so that I can figure out directions and whether this is helpful or not helpful. So I thank you for saying so. Pray, says Tamara. Gratitude for opportunities to channel peace, even in turmoils, is peace. Yeah. And the world's always in turmoil. She saw that stuff going on over there in Kabul, over there in Afghanistan, down there on the border, all over the world, in your own little town, in your own little house. We all need this peace so that when we face turmoil, when we face strife and suffering, we have a place to stand inside ourselves and survive. Survive by connecting to the one who is survival itself. Do you cry even though you know that death is not the end when someone dies? Daniel, I do cry. I cry for myself, for my loss. If it's a dear to me, I cry. Not because I don't know where they are, because I do. And that brings me joy. But because I suffer their loss, because I'm a human being. When my sister died, Andrea, now I think it was 2007, in this very spot where I'm sitting right now, I got the phone call from my mom. And my knees went out from underneath me. I collapsed to the floor and I cried. Even though I know where she is, even though I know she's well, because I wanted her here. I know that's selfish, but love can be selfish. My emotions, I'm a human being, so I cry. But I'm a little different than other people because I know there is no end. And so, although I miss my sister, I know all's well. I live with this little bit of conflict, and I'm okay with it. Thank you for asking, Daniel. And yes, this peace that's grown inside me over my lifetime, as long as I keep my heart and mind open to it, it doesn't end. It doesn't, because it's eternal, because it's not temporal, because it's not me. It's okay to grieve, even if you had an NDE. Yes, my deceased grandmother visited me 8 months after she passed, Sharon. Ta-da! Kaboom! Voila! Yeah. So, did you break the rules of the Bible? Did you, huh? Did you break the rules of the Bible, or did your grandmother? Or are those rules not really in existence? Because so many of us have visitations from the dead to communicate to us love and welcome and peace and beauty. The Bible is not literally true. It's truth contained in myth, and symbol, and metaphor. But whenever the rules creep in, the Pharisaical rules, the law, don't do, that's human beings talking. That's not the divine. I'm glad your grandma came to you, and I hope whatever message she gave you filled you with an everlasting understanding of the eternal nature of life, and that she herself is not dead, and that she herself is living and loves you. That's a beautiful thing. Thank you, Nancy. Where are we? I've lost my. Thank you, BE. I grieve the loss of my loved ones and still have peace even though I'm sad. That's the irony of peace, Rebecca. Yes, because emotions are real. And sadness is an emotion. And grief is an emotion. It can have physical results. People can die of a broken heart. You might experience that going through divorce, pain like that in your heart, or the death of a child. But this peace, it's underneath everything. When you find your higher self, when you connect to your divine soul, then you find this is who you are. And when you find this is who you are, it informs everything you do in this life. And so I can feel sadness and peace at the same time. Just like you, Rebecca. It's the beauty of it. You also have a ghost or ghosts in your home. Hey, Sharon, maybe you can ask them if they want to go home. Ask them if they want to head to the light. They don't have to hang out here. There's something much better awaiting them. Try to steer them to the light if they want to go. They may. I've helped one or two, actually. Although as soon as I mention, kind of comes back. But I know he's not here anymore, not permanently, not like he was. Oh, I don't know about the question. Thinking about it out loud, BE. Okay, how do I participate in Mystic Tea Salon? I haven't downloaded Zoom. You got to download Zoom. Download Zoom. It'll happen the first time you click the link. Go find the link in the description down below that says Zoom link or something like that. Drop it in your browser. It'll open your browser and it'll tell you how to download Zoom. You download Zoom and it opens up. There's a password though, and you have to grab the password, which is also in the description. Hope to see you there. Loving this teaching on the living power of peace. Thanks, Willie T. This living power of peace, it's powerful. I like to liken it to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. If you've ever seen that film, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, there's this great scene where the two warriors, man and a woman, are running, flying, because it's a kung fu movie. They're running and flying through this bamboo forest, and they're 20 feet up in the air as they run from tree to tree. And the man, he lands on the end of a bamboo leaf, and he stands there, totally still. That's what this piece is like. It's like this standing on the firmness of yourself in the air of the world. It's the grounding that exists inside of us and connects us backward and up and down into the divine self, but also allows us to give it out into the world. It's an amazing thing. And you can cultivate it. That's what meditation cultivates, this peace. Incrementally, day by day, breath by breath. It's why the discipline of meditation matters over a lifetime. Serenity now, serenity now, serenity now. You remember that scene from Seinfeld? Enlightenment now, enlightenment now, give me enlightenment now. It doesn't work that way. Maybe God will blast you with it. But mostly it's about peeling away the false self and allowing it to grow incrementally. It's a very gentle path, is meditation, into enlightenment, into awakening, into being aware of the light and the peace inside yourself. And then seeing it inside of everything and recognizing it as normal. There's this Zen saying, you've probably heard it. Van Morrison sings about it. First there was a mountain, then there is no mountain, then there is. When the peace becomes the reality of your being, then there is no conflict with it. It's just always been there. It's the norm. And it's powerful. And it's lasting. And it surpasses everything I can ever say about it. And it's not the peace of the world. It's not the cessation of war. It's not the cessation of violence. It's the peace of self. It's the peace of the divine. It is the divine self. How does battling against principles and powers affect our peace? Doesn't affect it at all. You can be a peaceful warrior. A person can be a peaceful warrior. And that's what all those kung fu movies are all about. That's what the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon's all about. He's the peaceful warrior. You can fight against the principalities and powers. As long as your center remains in the peace, and in that peace, you become less reactive, more generous, more humble, more courageous, stronger. You can do both. I fought powers and principalities from my place of peace. I don't know how else I could have done it otherwise. I would have failed, but that's what would have happened. So yes, cultivate the peace inside yourself, and you're going to find strength inside there. You are one of the people on this earth who have been beneficial in bringing back to spirituality and the wonders of God. Thank you. Hey, thanks, Artist Tom. It's my job. I didn't realize I was contracting for this job when I said I'd like to come back, but there it is. So I think that there's more of us. I think there's lots of us like me, because I'm like you. It lives inside of all of us. Every single one of us can open up to the divine presence. It's a powerful, powerful thing, far greater than me. But thank you, Artist Tom. Sharon, do you have an iPad? You can download it in apps, or you can on your computer, says Kate. Yep. I lost my place. How did I lose my place? But I did. There it is. Yes, your work and message is important and helpful to me and belief, if most of us, not all of us here now. Thank you. I am. Thanks, Mary. I do need to know that this is helpful to you, because if it's not helpful to you, then there's no point, or I need to figure out a different way to do it. So thank you. And if you have suggestions, please send them in. I'm open to critique. When I first moved to Deer Isle, Maine, and I was the young minister, I wrote some piece that went out in the newsletter, and I didn't have it edited. And about a week later, a retired English teacher sent it back to me, all full of red ink, and I was mortified and angry. Rah! Even though the piece was underneath me, I was still mortified and angry. But then I started writing for this journal, Homiletics, and they came back with red ink. And then I realized that critique is the writer's best friend. It's the presenter's best friend. So if you have critique, kind critique, I'm definitely open to it. Because the responsibility of the writer is to help the reader understand. And if the reader doesn't understand, it's not the problem of the reader, it's the problem of the writer. And so your suggestions, please let me know. And thank you. I'm glad that you're helpful, Mary. Your helpful words to me, Mary. I appreciate it. Most of New South Wales and Victoria have become a fascist state. It's scary in Australia now, and we need peace. God is always here, Leah Beachy. God is never not here. There is nowhere where God is not present. If God is not present, then there is no thing there. All things are divine. All things are made of the divine presence. All things radiate with the love and the peace that is underneath, hidden from most people, from the majority of people. And I think of Dietrich Bonhoeffer. I don't know what's going on down there in Australia, but I think of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who was imprisoned by the Nazis, by real, serious fascists, who died in prison. And even in prison, he found peace inside himself. Peace is that which you carry inside yourself, and the kindness you give to others, even in the face of strife. Keep finding, keep seeking. Find it inside yourself and share it with others. Cultivating peace to me is like cultivating a garden. It requires some work, but yields big rewards. Rebecca, exactly. Exactly. How you treat your soil, how much water you put in it, whether you weed it, what kind of seeds you use, all those things matter in garden life. And there are things you can't control, like slugs. I put out beer for the slugs, not to get them drunk, but to send them on to the next incarnation. But it is pieces like cultivating a garden. It takes time, it takes care, it takes attention. If you got diagnosed with cancer, would you deny treatment or take your opportunity to go to the afterlife? Depends on the cancer. It depends on the cancer and what my responsibilities are here and how old I am. If my granddaughter and my family still need me to be here, I would probably take the treatment. But if I'm 85 years old and the treatment's going to ruin my health, probably not. I mean, I'm kind of hoping that I get to not have to stay here for a long period of time. Past 85, if I live to 90 and I'm in good health, I'd be happy to stay. But if I'm not, then I'd rather not stay. I might get cancer. I don't know. I could probably die of a heart attack. That's more likely. It all depends on the people around me. That's my answer. If they still really need me, then I would take the treatment up to a point. But if they don't, I don't know, maybe I'd go. I don't want to die a long, painful death, though, if I can help it. I've seen plenty of those. If there's a quicker way to do it, then I pray that God gives me that, like we all do. I've helped people transfer over who've chosen not to get treatment. I think of this one guy named Bob, who was a member of my church, and his kids came to me. He was in his hospital bed and he had like stage 3 cancer. Had a chance though, could survive it, but he was in his 80s. And I loved this guy. He used to own the plumbing company in our town, like the plumbing store. And he got quite wealthy and he ended up leaving the church $1 million. My God, Bob. He was one of my loyal supporters during all the terrible things that happened here. But I loved Bob, and his kids sent me as an emissary, and I knew all the kids. They're in their 60s or 50s at the time, and they're like, Peter, you got to go talk him into getting this treatment. We need him here. And I went to Bob and I said, hey, Bob, your kids, kids want me to tell you to get your treatment. What do you think? And he said to me, Peter, I've lived a beautiful life. I've spent my entire life waiting to go home. And he was not a near-death experiencer. He came to faith through belief. And his heart opened over his lifetime. And he found the joy of beingness. And with those beautiful blue eyes of his and a smile on his face, he said to me, I choose to die, Peter. I've spent my whole life preparing for this. I'm not going to shirk now. I love that about him. He's one of my personal angels in heaven. I'm pretty sure of it. I've come to understand the Bible as a collection of archetypal stories that give us instruction how to reach life's critical moments, how to react in life's critical moments. Much more useful that way, says Wendy. Beautiful. I'm going to read that again. I've come to understand the Bible as a collection of archetypal stories that give us instructions how to react in life's critical moments. Hey, I've been listening to Adyashanti and the CD that you sent me, Wendy. Gospel of John. Thank you. I've always thought music, Frisian, the chills you get represent your yearning wistfulness for the harmony of the creation song. Oh, that's beautiful, Wanda. That's beautiful. Wow. I believe cancer is manifested, so he would have to manifest that disease subconsciously. Maybe, Allie, maybe you went out in the sun too many times between 0 and 18 and got too many sunburns and get skin cancer and melanoma. Or maybe you smoke your cigarettes, that's a manifestation of it. Or you chew tobacco and they get it in your jaw. Or you suck in asbestos. Or maybe you manifest it. But mostly, I think there's a lot of DNA and environmental exposure. There are clusters of cancer, Like I live near a cluster of cancer. There's a nuclear power plant up the river from me, or used to be. There's still a storage facility there. There used to be a cluster of cancer here. I don't remember what kind it was. Nuclear. Hey, DX, I had a near-death experience and witnessed the peace. Oh, yeah. DX, you know what I'm talking about. And then so we have these mystical experiences, near-death experience, mystical experience, or maybe through psychedelics, or however this happens to you, that you taste the truth of peace. Then it takes cultivation of that peace to open that channel wider and wider and wider, and make that reservoir deeper and deeper, in order to share it, to give other people the depth and the stream and the flow, because it's not ours to keep. It's ours to share, to give it away. Give it away, give it away, give it away. DX, I'm so glad you're here and said that. I've got about 10 minutes left here before Mystic Tea Salon. Wendy, Sharon R. I helped my mom release from this earth a couple of years after she passed. It was very beautiful. Check in with Peter to get you moving forward on that, if you wish. Has your sister come to you in signs? My sister hasn't come to me, but she's come to my mom and my dad several times, including asking forgiveness for the things that she did and to hurt them, because she didn't understand the pain that she was causing. Only in reflection in the afterlife did she understand the suffering that she caused on earth. And she came to visit my mom with my grandparents, my Baldwin grandparents, Grandma Baldwin and Grandpa Baldwin, and they came kind of behind her to support her and presented apology to my mom, which my mom accepted and healed her. It's beautiful. But no, Andrea has not come to me. I guess I don't need her. I don't know. I don't know why she's not showing up. I've got a few minutes left here. Laurie, my mom has cancer. She's chosen treatment. She has an example to others on how to praise God no matter what. I would say her faith is stronger today, and so is her peace. That totally happens. The gifts that come with cancer, they call them the gifts of cancer. They can come with strength and peace. It's so incredible. When you face your mortality and you understand and you aim your heart at the divine and the crisis of your life, the facing of your mortality, this opening can happen, like your mom, Carmen, and she becomes this channel of peace in the world. I've seen it a bunch of times. That is so wonderful. When we're able to hold peace, others have temporarily lost that peace, can remember it and come back to us and look for it for comfort, says Rebecca. That's right. That's why we share it, because we can get isolated out from it sometimes. And then in a community context, we can bring it to each other. It's not me telling you what the theology is supposed to be or what the Bible means. It's not what I'm talking about here. It's this sharing of the divine experience itself. It's exactly what you're saying, Rebecca. It's being a channel of peace in the world, holding a place for peace and being able to share it with others. And it radiates and magnifies itself. It's so incredible. This is what I'm trying to talk about every single week. This is what I'm trying to say every single time. It's real. It's realer than real. It's reality with a capital R. Your angel gold dust has gotten in my eyes and ears. It's God's dust. It was mine only temporarily. I never really had possession of it, but things can. It makes a difference to see and hear. They're only irritants if they cling to limitation. Oh yeah, achoo, achoo. You're funny, man. I have a phone only, Sharon. You can do it on your phone. You can Zoom on your phone. Love to see you. And you can phone in too. There's a phone number there to phone in and like listen in and not look. Peter, the artist of the word, which reaches the soul. Thank you. Oh, Karen. Just doing my job, working for God. Thanks for liking the video this morning, you people who did. I appreciate that. Hey, Jim, could you say a few words? I do have a few minutes left. Can you say a few words about St. Francis and what inspired him to write his prayer, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace? I'd have to re-look up why he wrote that prayer because I don't remember. But I do recommend reading the Little Flowers of St. Francis. It's a very thin little book that is an expletive of his life. And I I was more interested in singing. I used to sing that prayer, and I wish that I could sing it now, but I don't remember all the words off the top of my head. And you might not want to hear me sing anyway. But I think that Francis was expressing the truth that was inside him. And let me see if I can very quickly gather those words. Prayer of Saint Francis. Maybe I should spend some time one of these days talking about the prayer of Saint Francis. And let's see if I can pop it up here. It says, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Make me a channel of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not seek so much to be consoled as to console, to understand, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. This is the prayer of my life. I know I should have it memorized, but I don't at the moment. This prayer summarizes everything we're trying to do and say here. I think this prayer, Jim, was an expression of his mystical life, his understanding of selflessness, his giving of all of these powerful gifts of the Spirit. You're welcome, Andrew. Thanks you for being here today in the wonderful chat. Thank you, Self-Luminosity. Yeah, me too, Daniel. Favorite childhood song, Make Me an Instrument of Your Peace. All right, my friends, I got less than 4 minutes left. I got to take a little bio break, and I'll be back, and I'll see you at Zoom in a few minutes at the top of the hour. Peace and love to you all. Peace be with you all. Thank you for being here today. Thanks for your support. Peace to you all. Peace to us all. See you soon. Namaste.